Hello and welcome to Think and Grow Rich webinar part 3. Well, I'm sure you have watched part 1 and part 2, and if you haven't, please go and watch the videos. The link is given along with this in the YouTube video's description. So my name is Dr. Evelet Sequeira. I'm the founder of Sacred Lotus Womb Academy. The mission of this academy is for women to live fuller lives, to magnetize their potential to the limitless possibilities that exist within them. Now, to take you on this journey of getting to know the 17 principles that the best-selling author Napoleon Hill gave in his book, Think and Grow Rich, is bringing you to this space of this awesome wisdom. I wouldn't even call it knowledge. I would call it wisdom for you to tap into and to know how much this information and wisdom is available for us right here. And all we need to do is listen, use it to our advantage, and bring it into practice so that all of us can feel rich, wealthy, abundant at all times. So I'm going to take you through the last 5 principles. They are teamwork, creative vision, budgeting your time and money, maintaining sound health, and the cosmic habit force. So, what are each of these? What did Napoleon Hill talk about these? And how do we embody these in our daily lives? This is what we're going to learn in today's webinar. So, welcome, dear sisters. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay. So, welcome to the webinar. We did these principles, 7 of them in the first webinar, which is the definite major purpose, the Mastermind Alliance, applied faith, going the extra mile, pleasing personality, a positive mental attitude, personal initiative. The second webinar held or taught these 5 principles: self-discipline, enthusiasm, controlled attention, accurate thinking, and learning from adversity and defeat. And today we will do the next 5, which is teamwork, creative vision, budgeting time and money, maintaining sound health, and cosmic habit force. So before we go into the session, let's invoke the blessings of the creative force that's within us, around us, all over us. So take a deep breath. As you breathe in, feel the breath entering, the air entering through your nostrils, going deep into your lungs. And as you release the breath, notice the air coming out of your nostrils or your mouth. With every breath, expand your consciousness. The more we expand, the more we are flexible, the more we spread out. We are now embracing, we are now touching different aspects of this vast creative energy that exists for all of us, all around us. And now let us recite the prayer that Napoleon Hill gave us. I ask not for more riches, but more wisdom, with which to make wiser use of the riches you gave me at birth, consisting in the power to control and direct my own life to whatever end I desire. Amen, amen, amen. So be it, so be it, so be it. Gently bring yourself back to present time. And with this invocation, let's enter deep into the remaining principles that are present, that are given to us by Napoleon Hill. You can always watch the original video, which is available on YouTube, and I have attached the link to in the description box below. So you can watch Napoleon Hill, listen to him, his voice, and maybe take down notes and then compare them and see how it works for you. What I bring here is how we can tweak these principles and connect to them as women. Okay, so everything that he speaks, most of the sessions are about, he keeps mentioning he, him, man. But what I want to bring to the table is, as a woman, how do you relate? As a woman with all your other responsibilities of caring, nurturing, we may want a world which is equal, but let's get it straight, ladies. Many of us, or we would say at least 70 to 80% of us, still don't have that kind of freedom, and we still are kind of stuck, or I wouldn't say stuck, or sometimes some of us choose traditional roles. And staying within the ambit of these traditional roles, how can we still access these principles and use it to our advantage? That's the space that we're in. Okay, so the last 5 principles, according to Napoleon Hill, the first one is teamwork. All right. So teamwork as a model for business. Let me tell you, when I studied this principle, I had an aha moment, or maybe like a light bulb going off. When I wanted to start Sacred Lotus Womb Academy, by then I was already doing my full moon circles with lovely women, and I've been friends with most of the women who are part of that circle, and we have grown to be who we are. And I always thought, and at that time I also went to a Think and Grow Rich webinar seminar, and kind of learned it from the trainer who's in India, Mr. Sid. And I said, okay, I need to create this mastermind alliance. Now, I never understood the difference between the mastermind alliance and the team. I was making the team the mastermind alliance. And so when I sent out messages to everyone, especially to the women who I was very close to and who I kind of thought that, we kind of resonated in our ideas about the Womb Academy that I was planning to begin, I realized that they said no. And many of them said, no, this doesn't resonate, this doesn't connect, but we'll help you, Evelet, we're there for you. And yes, they were there, they are there. Every time I put out stuff, they're always there encouraging me and, pushing me to go forward. And that's when I realized that they are my team and they are team members to this work, but not the Mastermind Alliance. So let's get into it, and you'll know the difference. So teamwork as a model for business. Cooperation, like love and friendship, is something you get by giving. There are many travelers on the road that lead to happiness, and you will need cooperation, and they will need yours. We do need a team, dear sisters, without which we cannot live on islands alone. For some time, yes, but if you have to function in a society and you want to be working together and being in a community, you need to have cooperation. So what is teamwork? In the Mastermind Alliance, you build a small group of individuals who are committed to the same definite purpose. So if my definite purpose is about empowering women, but if I have members who also want to, empower men and who want to empower children, or they have a very different major definite purpose, they are not part of my Mastermind Alliance. So remember that. And Mastermind Alliance members all share the same burning obsession that each benefit from the increased enthusiasm, imagination, and knowledge. And you are in agreement on the division of the rewards of your labor. Whereas teamwork establishes much similar relationship, but it involves working with people who probably don't have the same burning obsession as you do. It requires more effort on your part to maintain a commitment to the work you seek from others and for them to discover their own desires. So teamwork is a willing cooperation and coordination of effort to achieve a common goal. Teamwork is sharing a part of what you have, a part that is good with others. Teamwork differs from mastermind principle in that it is based on coordination of effort without necessarily embracing the principle of the definiteness of purpose or the principle of absolute harmony, both of which are essential for Mastermind Alliance. So harmonious cooperation is a priceless asset which you can acquire in proportion to your giving. Isn't that wonderful to know the difference? Now, there are 10 tenets that are given for motivating your staff or your team. Now, all of us may wonder, oh, but I work for somebody. I don't have anyone, working for me. But I'm sure we have people at home. You have your family. That's your team. You also have, maids. You have drivers working for you. You have house help. They all become part of your team. So, what are the 10 tenets? The first is difficulty. Okay, that is generating excitement about work is very difficult. While destroying excitement is relatively easy, yet the results are more than worth the effort. Many blame the corporation for their motivational difficulties, but effective motivators do not expect help from the larger organization. People to people is the key, no routinized system. So here the idea is that, we talk about self-motivation. This has to come from within. It is not about someone else sitting with a danda and telling you to do things. It's the motivation that has to come from within. Fat, happy rats. This is a caveat from the experimental psychology. It states that fat, happy rats never run mazes. They just sit there. Keep a positive tension by rewarding those who perform and at the same time asking, how do we do it better? So if you have a team and you notice that there are some who are just sitting and doing nothing, whiling away, you may call them fat, happy rats. Sometimes they can be thin and not be doing work, it's just a caveat. But look into this space. Low intellectual content. Emotion has almost no intellectual content. Therefore, motivational problems cannot be intellectualized away. A wise manager doesn't ask why when something generates positive feelings. The positive emotionality becomes contagious. So again, this comes with one of the parts, which is we spoke about in our last webinar, which is enthusiasm. So if people are naturally enthusiastic, the team is naturally enthusiastic, and even the team leader or the person who's driving the team is naturally enthusiastic, this will bring about a positive mental attitude there. Hedonism. All individuals seek pleasure and avoid pain, but what is pleasure to one may not be pleasure to another. So formal reward systems employ broad generalizations. So managers must effectively control informal rewards. So get to know your employees, assign jobs, travel, equipment in terms of specific performance and rewards. We know all of this. Protection of self. People want protection from failure and its consequences. The manager must communicate that you take some risks and I will protect you if you fail. Protection also implies a desire to save face. So it's more like, I'm like your dad, I got your back, or I'm your mom, I got your back. And allowing them to take that step as this child who is learning to grow. Enhancement of self. While you should encourage workers to take risks without fear of punishment, you must also communicate that rewards come only with success. A corollary is that everybody wants to be solo, to be perceived as making an identifiable contribution to the group. So soloing is not incompatible with teamwork. In fact, participation is the key, signaling how much you value your workers' contribution. So there is a time for going solo, there is a time for being in the team. You got to know how to balance both of them. Then you have social relativity. Job satisfaction depends on what other people are receiving. However, the worst mistake you can make is try to minimize this dissatisfaction and you produce a satisfied, complacent work group. Okay. So social relativity also dictates how you allocate time spent on supervision and time spent on motivation. Now, these are all different points that we can use for teamwork. Satiation versus variability. Satiation on the job deters motivation. Like many of us get bored very quickly, or you're just so tired, you're doing the same thing over and over again, and there's nothing new happening. So change is exciting, and where change for change's sake, that's not right, but create the change, work for the change. It has to be motivated and driven from within outwards and not from outside it. There's something called juxtaposition. Most formal systems of reward are not really motivational because the reward arrives too long after the deed. Yeah. Rather than, work on, one moment, I'll just get this word here. So rather than worry about your lack of control over formal rewards, employ a continual stream of informal rewards, which can be tied directly to a particular achievement. This is a very good point that has been mentioned here. Then there are expectations. They are also the essence of motivation. Okay, somewhat subjective in the goals that you set, and then provide the motivational environment to achieve them. But be very objective in your evaluation of people's performance. Understand that rewards are vastly superior to punishments as a motivational device, and you will be an effective motivator, one who tells subordinates what is expected and makes them feel great doing it. So, to give you an example, I mean, there are days when you want to do something, like you may have certain responsibilities, and some days you want to shirk them, and you just don't feel like doing. That's fine. But as a supervisor, you will watch once, twice, maybe a third time, and then the fourth time you have to bring it to the person's notice and say that, dude, it's not done. This has to get completed, what needs to be completed. Or if there is a problem, what is it? How can how can we work on this together? Or in what way can I support you or help you? Right? So, what are the points to ponder in teamwork? There is no record of any great contribution to civilization without the cooperation of others. You can go far alone, be the soloist and whatever. But if you want to reach far and wide, then we all go together. Okay. You receive cooperation by giving it. You cannot be sitting on this high-handed chair and say, "Oh, I want everyone to come and help me," if you are not going to put yourself out there. Enthusiasm is contagious, and teamwork is the inevitable result. A good football team relies more on harmonious coordination of effort than on individual skill. You know, what I was also thinking about during this whole process of even, making the slides, and what I realized is there are times when I'm a team person, and there are times when I'm a solo person. So maybe to even find out what kind of a person you are, what kind of a personality you hold, try and ask yourself, what are the kind of sports that you relate to? Are you a cricket, football kind of a person? Or are you a more tennis and badminton or table tennis person where you have just two people? Or are you more of a high jump throw, or a javelin throw or something like that, or a weightlifter? So it kind of gives you an idea into what kind of a personality you are. And what I realized is I like most of the sports where the person is single and alone. It doesn't make you good or bad. It's just your preference. So once you know it, then you know what is the area of work that you want to move into. So even as women, many of us, we don't want to be working in very big teams. Maybe you are an introvert and you just want to do smaller teams or smaller groups, maybe just two or three of them, or you want to work just alone. Like Napoleon Hill says, some of them have a mastermind alliance with themselves. Like that's just one mastermind alliance. There's no one else there. So even that can be, right? So know what it is that you bring to the table. The whole key is awareness of who you are. Don't follow it because the whole world is doing it. You can do your stuff alone. If that is what motivates you, that is what gives you the courage to move forward. This is what it is. So willing cooperation produces enduring force, yeah, while forced cooperation ends in failure. No one can succeed and remain successful without the friendly cooperation of others. Remember one thing, even if you want to be the solo person, without the cooperation of your family, without the cooperation of your coach, it's not going to be possible. So there's still a team working back end to get you to be where you are. Most people will respond freely to a request than they will to an order. Yes. So the tone of voice when you talk to your team, is it more like very condescending, or it's like, I'm this, I know this, I'm your boss type? Or Is it coming from a space of request? I want you to do this. At the same time, again, a thin line where, you're not begging them to do the work. That's not where we want to be at. There has to be some level of self-respect. Cooperation is indispensable in your home, your job, and in your social life. The surest way to achieve your success is by helping others to attain theirs. So, helping others solve their problems will help you solve your own, right? We know this very big tenet, for it is in giving that we receive. We move on now to the next principle, which is creative vision. Now, how many of us feel stuck that, oh, I don't have any creativity? A lot of people come to me because I'm a womb healer, and the womb is the space within the body for where creation takes place, right? The baby is born from here. And also, ideas are born from here. Our projects, our pet peeves are born from this space. So, a number of people come to me where they say, we don't have any more creative spark left, and I feel it's all over now for me. I don't know. I don't know whether I want to do this anymore. I want to change or I don't want to change. So the whole thing that Napoleon Hill speaks of is holding a creative vision. And how do you do that? He's given such beautiful, simple points. Let's check them out, friends. So creative vision requires you to stimulate your imagination to work towards your definite major purpose and to put the results of that imagination to work. Okay. Now, everything is directed to the definite major purpose or the major definite purpose, whatever you call it. That's like your North Star. That's guiding you. Every action of yours, every principle works towards the definite major purpose. Expressed by people unafraid of criticism, creative vision is responsible for the shape of what civilization is today. There will be people who will not understand your creativity in this moment. I know of so many authors whose books were not accepted at the time that they lived. It's after years of them having passed away that the books are now being read in new light, being understood in new light. So some of these authors, some of these visionaries were born before time because they wanted to take the civilization to a higher space. It inspires you to pioneer and experiment with new ideas in every field. Creative vision belongs only to people who have the habit of going the extra mile. So if you're the kind of person who says, no, this much is enough, and and it's not a bad thing. But if you are that, then this is not for you. Creative vision is not for you. You're happy with doing the same thing over and over again. When we look at the space of mastery or excellence, I was watching this Netflix show, Chef's Table, and I was watching the season on pizzas. Pizza is a dish. There is a typical staple recipes which are passed on from generations, which you will find in every other pizza outlet. But then there are these artists who have taken that pizza to the next level. The base is the same, but the toppings keep changing, keep getting different. That's because there is a creative vision in creating a new product or giving something new to the customer or to the client. Synthetic imagination combines previously recognized ideas. Yes. So we have two kinds of imagination: synthetic imagination and creative imagination. Synthetic imagination is using previously recognized ideas, concepts, plans, and putting them to new use. I call this the bhel puri. You are using everything what was already there, putting it together and giving out a bhel puri of items. Excellent example is Edison's invention of the light bulb. So many of them had done pre-work before, and then ultimately Edison kind of worked on what was already done, and he built on that. It was not completely new information that Edison was working on. Creative imagination has its base in the subconscious. So synthetic imagination comes from what already exists and you're taking it forward. But creative imagination, this is new, this is brand new, this is absolute innovation. So these are people who, who patent their products, that this is what has come through them. And it's come usually from the subconscious or the collective unconscious, as Carl Jung says. It's a medium through which you recognize new ideas and newly learned facts. all your efforts to impress your definite major purpose on your subconscious work to stimulate your creative imagination. So imagine a J.K. Rowling sitting to write a book and she gets a whole download of Harry Potter. Now, that is something that was never there before. It's come for the first time. That is creative imagination. Synthetic imagination springs from experience and reason. Creative imagination springs from your commitment to your definite purpose. Creative vision depends heavily upon creative imagination, and it's also more than that. Imagination recognizes limitations, handicaps, and opposition. Creative vision rides over these as if they do not exist, for it has its base in infinite intelligence. I love this part because when we creatively imagine, do you remember the first time you ever tried a recipe and you wanted to do something and cook, and everyone may have laughed at you or thrown away what you cooked, or you yourself have felt that this is rubbish, utter rubbish that I have made. But this is what I tell everybody. And I remember one of my uncles saying that God does not make junk. And all creativity, small, big, fat, ugly, beautiful, excellent, whatever names or adjectives you want to give it, it comes from that infinite intelligence. And it is beautiful. You just got to have the eyes to see it, right? We don't see it as creative because we're comparing it with something which is perfect. So imagine a child who is asked to draw a tree. And if the child draws a tree which looks like a Christmas tree, that child is reprimanded and says, no, this is not how it is. You need a big trunk and I need that foliage which looks like a little cloud of green. But even Christmas tree is a tree, right? So when we talk about creative vision or creative imagination, it's about expanding your consciousness, trying to get into a more deeper space of seeing things differently through your creative lens. When you have creative vision, you know that you can succeed only by helping others to succeed, and you know that it isn't necessary for anyone to fail in the process, right? It's a win-win for all. Creative vision lets you make decisions quickly, and it lets you change those decisions as soon as you realize a mistake has been made. So one of the things about creative vision is that is the flexibility that it comes with. You don't have to hold on to it as something very tight and rigid. You can make changes, mid-course corrections that we talk about. It frees you from the fear of others, but it makes you feel at peace with yourself in your knowledge that you are fair and honest. If you feel the need for a creative vision in your life, you can begin to develop it by getting on better terms with your own conscience, inspiring yourself with greater self-reliance, providing yourself with a definite major purpose, and keeping your mind so busy with that purpose that you have no time left for fear and doubt. So the definite major purpose, your North Star, is what is going to lead you on this path. Nothing will happen in your life that you do not inspire by your own initiative. Creative vision is the power which inspires the development of that personal initiative. So, have a vision board, have a mood board, have stuff ready and ideate, put your ideas out, and you never know what comes forth. So having the vision is one thing, and then putting it into action is another, right? But many of us, we don't want to go into that space because we feel, oh my God, I'm not a thinker, I'm not a creative person. It's not possible. We all have access to that infinite intelligence. Okay, now this is a big one. This is called budgeting your time and money. Now, how many times have we been told to budget money? And many of us, if we come from homes where money as a resource was lacking, or we had to be very aware, at least for me, I grew up in a middle class household where we were actually counting our pennies, pounds, everything, because it was about using our resources, which were finite, and how we could use it to the best of our ability so that, given that my parents had simple jobs and whatever the money that came in, and how we could use it for our advantage for education and all of that. So when you learn to honor and respect money, when you learn to honor and respect time, you know that both, we are not here for an unlimited time on this planet. We are mortal. So use the time that you have for your benefit and use it towards your definite major purpose. So I'm going to take you through the presentation. So time and money are precious resources, and few people striving for success ever believe they possess either one in excess. Understanding how you can use them is an important part of evaluating your progress. So now here Napoleon Hill gives you a personal inventory, and this is now going through all the 12 or 15, 16 principles that we have done. So these are questions. What I suggest is that you take your time, take a notebook and pen, and sit with these questions, okay, one by one. You can stop the video, pause it, and actually use this as an exercise to see where you are at. You know, I'm also going to do it. I've done one part of it, I have to complete it. So do this, and this will give you a guide into where you are right now, okay? So do you have a major definite purpose? What plans do you have for attaining it? And how much time are you devoting for these plans on a persistent daily basis? How often do you work on your plans? And only when the notion strikes you, or when you snatch a few minutes during commercials or in between the other work that you do daily? Second is your definite major purpose a burning obsession? When and how often do you fan its flames? What have you planned to give in return for realizing your definite major purpose? Are you doing it yet? When will you start? So whatever is your definite major purpose, know that to attain it, there is also a price to pay. So what are you willing to give in return? And you can name it. You can name that, right? What steps have you taken to build your mastermind alliance? How often are you in contact with the members if you have a group? If not, you have, how often do you sit with yourself and with your creative energy or the creative infinite intelligence and receive your downloads? How many of them do you speak to monthly, weekly, or daily basis? The fifth is, have you made a habit of accepting temporary defeat as a challenge to greater effort? Yeah, we hope these defeats are few, but they are inevitable. I'm going to tell you that when I started my center for the first time, you know, after I got trained as a Helio Life teacher and a coach. I felt the need to have a center of my own where, you know, people could come and, you know, have coaching sessions. And I wanted to make it very cozy for them. I didn't want it to be like a very typical doctor's clinic or a therapy clinic. It had to feel, it had to have more of a homely feel. And I remember taking these places on rent, and you know, in Mumbai, the rents are really high, and I wasn't getting clients at all, and you know, or very few clients. And I realized it was totally a loss-making activity. And I'm very grateful to my husband for supporting me financially at that point. And then, you know, to move into a space, moved into partnerships, and I also had a long-standing partnership with my friend Azelia, and we ran a center together in Malad. And then, of course, again, some things changed for us. You know, she had her plans, I had my plans, and then, you know, we kind of again separately went our ways. I started my own center then. And again, when I started the center, we had the COVID pandemic hit, and again, everything was topsy-turvy. Failures, defeats, moments will keep coming. But how tuned in are you, and how connected are you to your definite major purpose is what keeps you going, right? How quickly do you seek out the seed of equivalent benefit when adversity strikes? So I remember when I was when I had taken the place on rent, and it was the pandemic. I remember that is when I started making videos, you know, totally working in the online space, which I would not have done otherwise. So adversity will strike, but are you going to use that adversity as a seed to make equivalent benefit? And we have, you know, we worked on this principle last time. How do you spend most of your time carrying out your plans or brooding over the obstacles you face? I can tell you there are many times that I've sat and have been brooding over the obstacles. I'm not perfect, dear friends, and I need this information and this knowledge much more than anybody. That's why I'm teaching it, right? How often do you forego personal pleasure in order to have more time to work on your plan? How often is it the other way around? Do you seize every moment of time as if it were the only you were sure you had? Yeah, I don't really do this now, but maybe yes, at some day I will arrive at this stage. Have you looked at your life as a result of the way you spent time in the past? Are you happy with your life to date? Do you wish you had spent it in some other way? Do you regard each second that passes as an opportunity to change the course of your life for better? Is your mental attitude positive? I'm not talking about false positivity here and trying to pretend to be positive when you're feeling really shit inside, but having worked with your emotions and your negativity and not really projecting and spewing it all around, but taking definitive action steps to work with the negative state that you're in and then to move into positive mental state. Is it positive most of the time? Sometime. Is it positive now? And can you make it positive in the next second? How about the one after that? I like these questions. How often do you display personal initiative by backing your positive thoughts with action? Now, this is a big one. So, for me, I'm a creative person and a dreamer. I have huge plans. I make plans and plans and plans. But when it comes to execution, it's very, very difficult for me. Because one of the things that I also struggle with is that to have people who think like me, the kind of mindset that I hold. So, yes, but putting out one bit of action, and you will always find, or the right people will always come into your life and they are directed into your life as the universe wills it to happen. Because I believe that every definite major purpose is not something that you create, it is what the Creator has given to you as a purpose. So that purpose will, anyways, get done through you. All you need to be is in surrender and listen to the messages that come through to you. Do you believe that you will succeed by luck or a windfall? When are these things going to happen? Do you believe that you will succeed as a result of your own efforts? Yes, so there's a thin line. Many of us wait for this one person to walk into our life or to bring this kind of money. May happen, but not always. So you got to work for it. Do you know anyone who inspires you with his or her personal initiative? How often do you seek that person out? How often do you actually model your behavior on him or her? So I'm sure when you look around, you will see that there are many who have personal initiative, especially those who are of your own age group. So if you kind of relate, right? Um, Take some time to answer these questions. When you do go the extra mile, does it happen every day? Or just when you think someone is paying attention? Is your attitude good when you do it, or do you begrudge the additional work? Going the extra mile has to become a muscle in you all the time. Also, don't bend backwards and do too much of it. You will know. Once you're truly connected with your inner self, you'll know how much you want to do and how much you want to put out. How attractive is your personality? Do you look at yourself in the mirror every morning and work to improve your smile, your facial expression? Do you do this? Or do you just do a brush up before an important meeting? I remember, the other day I was all dressed up and my husband is like, is there something? Are you going for a meeting or what? I said, no, these are my work clothes. I start work at 9. Where am I? At home. So I'm in work clothes at home. But that kind of gives you the idea that yes, I'm working for something. I'm working for a particular cause. How are you applying your faith? Are you building your self-discipline? Have you mastered your fears? How often do you accept other people's opinions as fact? Okay, this is all to do with accurate thinking. So every question here is very important. How often do you inspire cooperation by giving it? What opportunities do you allow your imagination? When do you apply yourself to problems with creative vision? What dilemmas do you have that need to be solved this way? And are you actually relaxing, exercising, paying attention to your health? Were you planning to start at the new year? Why can't you start now? So when we look at budgeting time and money, effectiveness in human endeavor calls for the organized budgeting of time. And so for the average man or a woman, 24 hours of each day have to be divided into 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours for work, and 8 hours for recreation and spare time. So see if you're doing this. The next slide will kind of give you some clarity. Oh, maybe 2-3 slides later. So we have two kinds of people, doers and drifters. The doers have a major purpose. They manage circumstances, resources. Sometimes your purpose can only be taking care of your family. And that is enough, because that is motivation enough to keep you going, right? Examine every idea they encounter before they adopt or discard it. Take risks, assume responsibility, learn from their mistakes, go the extra mile, control their habits. Yes, we said very, very important. All those appetites that we have, they can take us down, in a direction where you end up overspending. Like I have this habit of just crazily buying books, and I remember I would use my credit card, and then I would use my husband's credit card. And that's when I realized, I said, what am I doing? Are you, have you lost it? What's happening to you? Coming back, waking yourself up. Have positive mental attitudes. Apply their faith in their own success. Create mastermind alliances to expand their knowledge and experience. Recognize their weaknesses and take steps to correct them. We all have weaknesses, dear sisters. It's not like, we are this perfect and very well, and oh, she is teaching or he's teaching, he's perfect. No, we're not. But as soon as you acknowledge that you have that weakness, you are becoming aware of that weakness, and now you're consciously saying that I'm going to make a change, and I'll change it for the better. Then we have something called as drifters. These are those who have no goal in life. Now we are not looking at those here who have some form of, psychosis or some form of, borderline neurosis. Those are pathological conditions where they need treatment or they need counseling and therapy. But there are some of us who just, have no aim, or, you would say borderline neurosis, are controlled by circumstances and the lack of resources. Oh, I was born in a very poor family, or, my parents didn't educate me, I don't have a degree. So there are so many excuses that they give. Flit from one idea about life to the other, depending on this week's fad or what the guy on TV said. Run from opportunity and blame others for their lots in life. Make the same mistakes again and again. Do only what it takes to get by. Let their habits control them. Have negative mental attitudes. Never do anything to improve their situation. Let me tell you, I have been a drifter for a few years. Learn all they want to know from that guy on TV and wouldn't know a weakness if it bit them. So here, this person is in a state of unawareness and oblivion. Yeah, I did a fairy tale, Sleeping Beauty. So the consciousness is sleeping here, totally unaware. The masculine has disappeared, and the feminine waits for the masculine to come and wake her up. So how do you divide your day? 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours for work, and 8 hours for other spare time. So how do you budget your spare time? That is also important. So spending, so these are suggestive, pointers. Spend 1 hour a day in quiet meditation, maybe your definite major purpose. So I would, request you to write it down. Contact with infinite intelligence, affirming your gratitude for the blessings that you have, right? If we are sleeping in a room, we have a bed, we have a pillow, we have water in our taps. We're very privileged, dear sister, very, very privileged. Self-analysis, identifying the fears you need to master and make plans for doing so, ways to increase harmony in all your relationships. So what we have seen is a lot of people become very successful when it comes to their work or maybe their professional life. But when it comes to their relationships, they suck. So here is the thing. Equal amount of attention needs to be given to all these areas of life. And that is one of the reasons why I'm even doing the webinar. So many women are so good with their relationships, but their financial prowess or their financial knowledge suck. So we need to be aware of these 3-4 key areas in our life and work at it together. I've seen many creative artists. They're so good in their creativity. They bring out they spend months and months in solitude and, stay in that space and bring out beautiful creations. But so many months of solitude without having the buy-in of your partner or your children, you're going to be at a loss. You need, they may feel that, oh, I hope, the family should understand that I'm doing this and all of that. but it won't happen. You need someone to get food on the table. You need someone to be there for the child when the child has a program in school. So these are some things that one has to be aware of. Like, what is my role in society today? And along with that role that I fulfill as a mother, as a father, as a sister, brother, what can I do in my capacity that is available for me while working on my purpose? Devote to us to going the extra mile by rendering some sort of advice or service to your community, your spouse, or your family without expecting any kind of reward. Okay, this is a good one. Study and read for self improvement for an hour, and if you want to really budget this spare time, one of the best teachers is Robin Sharma. You have to, you can read the book 5 a.m. Club, and you'll get some very good ideas and pointers there. Spend an hour in contact with members of your mastermind alliance or your close personal friend. Right. Now we come to the point of budgeting money. Money should be spent with a definite purpose in mind. Okay. So many of us, I remember sometimes I get very bored and I just, it's so easy for me to go online and to go shopping, right? And I'm like, not paying attention to the money, just kind of spending that money. I'm going to sip some tea, friend. You have to create a budget. Very important for your expenses. And you must use self-discipline in sticking to it. I'm doing this, sister. I'm keeping a notebook of all the money that I'm spending. Set aside a fixed percentage of your income for savings. And this rule is called pay yourself first. A strong and growing savings cushion is an important weapon in your fight against the fear of poverty. In case of adversity, ill health, your savings will allow you to start looking through for the seed of equivalent benefit right away. Have adequate life insurance if others depend on you and you have, family members. Allocate some portion of your income to charity. In case you're in debt, you need to spend as much as you can realistically afford to pay that debt off. Wealth is found in one's capabilities. Money is a byproduct of those capabilities. Your greatest asset is who you are. Wealth isn't money, dear sisters. But people who are wealthy often have money. So what is wealth then? They have money because they believe in their capability. Wealth is your knowing your own capability. And for this, you need to sit with yourself and say, what are my skills? What do I bring to the table? Who am I? What can I do that what action can I do that will bring some kind of service to someone else, where what I am offering can be utilized by another for their benefit. What good can come out of my service that I do to others? So they have money because they believe in their capabilities and inspire others to believe in them too. How you use your time and spend your money determines the degree of your success or your failure, right? Beautiful. Now, my favorite topic, maintaining sound health. I like the topic because it's health. So I'm a doctor, and he's called it sound health. So I'm also a sound therapist. So sound health. Little things bring some joy and glee to me. I really like it that Napoleon Hill has devoted one entire principle for sound health, if you want to think and grow rich. So let's see what he has to say here. Share my screen. So effective mind-body stimulant. You want to get the greatest vigor and fullest use from your body. Your body and mind are one, effectively a mind-body. Your mind-body is, in turn, at one with nature. The force of fear and anxiety produce unharmonious, irritated restlessness in your mind that leads to serious mental maladjustment. So fear, those 4 or 5 fears that Napoleon Hill talks of, they really play havoc in our lives, dear friends. and we need to be aware of them. Everything, most of our, our nervous system going into a state of incoherence is because of having these fears. And this comes from our time of our ancestors as hunter-gatherers, and so moment to moment awareness that is this fear real? False evidence that appears real. Is it real? Is it an illusion? Am I making it up in my head? Very important. Then the force of positive mental attitude. The best way to remove fear is to replace it with positive mental attitude. So Emily Koo, who's a French psychologist, says, say this line every day. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. And you can add your own lines and know that how auto-suggestions and affirmations work for you. Eating habits. We talk about eating habits. The purpose of food is to supply the body with things it needs to maintain itself in good repair. So we're eating food not for pleasure, dear friends. We're eating food as a fuel. So what am I putting in? Of course, we can have a cheat day because I really have my cheat days on Saturdays and Sundays, because food also feeds the soul. It's not only about the hardcore body needs fuel types. You also eat for your soul and to kind of indulge your senses, right? Your eating habits must be guided by this goal alone. That's what he says. But I feel that you can also give yourself that little bit of leeway. Think of your digestive system as a factory. At the end of it, you need to feel good inside. You need to feel happy about the food that you're eating. To function effectively, it has to have a supply of a variety of materials in varying quantities. We can do a separate food and health nutrition webinar. Rhythms and relaxation entails completely forgetting the worries and problems of the day. Your conscious mind selects objects on which to concentrate, and this concentration means the exclusion of other thoughts. You need to select an object of relaxation for your mind to concentrate on. It can be kite flying, gardening, reading a novel, or anything that you love doing, what we call hobbies. And your body needs sleep, okay, to build, rebuild, and revitalize itself. So 6 to 8 hours of sleep is important for you. So exercise, again, very beneficial. We have, I think we did a whole webinar on the mind, and we saw how exercise is the one activity that affects mental health from different corners, not only mental, physical, emotional health, social, our social status, everything comes from this one tool or one particular pointer for us. He talks about sex. Sex is behind all the creative forces that advance human destiny. Here, sex not in terms of male or female, but it's about sexual intercourse. Sex has built cathedrals, universities, and nations. Why? Because the desire for sex causes us to work to please others. And out of that work springs kindness and the understanding of others. I mean, I agree partly, but I'm not saying that sex is only the force that has driven people to make all of these. There may be examples of it, but yeah. Sex is completely a natural desire. Do not fear or deny it, but realize that you must direct it, like all desires, to definite ends instead of letting it become an end in itself. So if sex is all you want, you will do anything to get it, forgetting your faith in yourself, your definite purpose, and your moral standard. So again, this is maybe cautioning us from making it as an addiction. What I have seen in my practice with women is that most of the women want tender loving care. They just want to be held, to be loved, because we're very much in our body. The women connect deeper to their senses and to their body, to touch. Now, you're not going to get it. Someone's not going to just sit and touch you. Okay. There's going to be something more as well that needs to be given. And that is where sexual pleasures or sexual activity comes into play. So you have to know with whom you are sharing your physical body, and be very aware that there is energy exchange happening. Yeah. Then he talks about a vitamin I. I was also wondering what it is, but it's inspiration. So I've got some lovely pictures here for some motivation for us to really, get into a good exercise regime. No, and I really like to listen to one of India's pioneering nutritionist, Rujita Devekar, where she talks about it's not about losing weight or it's not about losing those inches. It's about how you feel, and there are so many 4, 5 parameters that she gives where you sleep well, and and your mind is having so much more clarity when you start exercising. And then of course some of the byproducts are that you lose weight and you start looking good and all of that. Some time for meditation, relaxation. You can have lots of sex with your partner. That will increase a lot of good bonding and some good food. So Tom Hopkins is a sales trainer, and he has given some 6 early morning suggestions. You can take them or leave them. Listen to some good music or motivational tapes. It's wonderful to listen to some podcasts in the morning or in the evening before you go to bed. And you can play this audio. We have now access to everything, right? Your phone, which is right next to you, okay, has it all. It's right there. So Hopkins believes in programming. So he decides the night before what he's going to listen to the next morning. You can take that one step extra, or what you can do is you can, just decide in the morning what you're going to do. Psych yourself up with your own words. When Hopkins is on the road, he's himself made a tape where he says, okay, today is the most beautiful day you've ever had. Today you're going to meet the right people in the right place and time for the betterment of all. Isn't that amazing? You're going to be in the right place at the right time. You're going to meet the right people for the betterment of all. So ultimately it's about service to the other. Take yourself a little aside and say, what I'm doing here, my purpose is not only for me, but it is for the benefit of someone else. Push positive thinking. Hopkins believes you can't be negative about large parts of your life and positive about others. So hold that positive mental attitude. Don't knock yourself. Plenty of people will do that for you. So hold yourself at least. We need ourselves, dear sisters. When you don't have that kind of courage and strength and support, you have to go into yourself, go into that womb temple. And I remember there have been days when I felt so alone, so lonely. And sometimes you call your friends and they're not even available to take a call for whatever reason. You have to tap into that strength within yourself. There's no one coming to rescue you. You have to do it for yourself. You're the best person you know, right? Be generous with praise and exercise. 3 workouts a week, every other day. So Rujita says 150 minutes every week is what you need to maintain healthy body and mind. So yeah. Right. Now we come to the final principle, which is the cosmic habit force. We did a whole webinar on habits, and one of my favorite authors, James Clear, and you can watch that webinar also to get deeper insights into habits. But I'm going to share now what Napolean Hill talks about cosmic habit force. This is a law which makes every living creature, every particle of matter, subject to the influence of its environment. It can work for you or it can work against you. So we have to remember that we are not alone. If you look at the entire universe, you will see that there are constellations, there are galaxies, there are stars, there are planets, there are these asteroids, meteors, everything there. But everything is moving in clockwork precision. So using natural forces, the grandest example of cosmic habit force is the operation of the heavens, like I said. Stars and planets move with clock-like precision. They don't collide. They don't suddenly veer off course, at least not without some major change. Okay, whenever there's a supernova or a black hole or a new star is birthing, there can be some change. But otherwise, usually it's a system that's kind of going day in and day out. If your habits are negative, the results will be negative. And that is why it's important for you to take control of your habits. If your dominating habits are thoughts of poverty, then cosmic habit force will bring you poverty. You have to realize that if you want to make changes, your habits need to change. If you're going to be this chindi chore and do chindigiri all the time, and hold on to your pennies and say no, no, I'll not do this, and there is a difference between budgeting and being this stingy little conjuice makhi juice. So that's what the universe is going to bring to you. If your dominating mental habits are of prosperity and peace, that's what cosmic habit force will bring to you. Repetition of a habit intensifies it until it becomes an obsession, right? You can become obsessed with poverty or with achievement. So choose wisely. Better to be obsessed with achievement if you're moving forward somewhere. So, what are some of the money making habits? Step one, create a clear mental image of just how much money you want to make. Okay, we will do a whole separate webinar on the psychology of money itself, and that's upcoming. I'll work on that webinar as well. A lot is not a good answer. Sometimes you got to give a concrete figure or a percentage. And sometimes we put, a very huge target. Nothing moves because you don't believe it inside. Start with believable amounts, and maybe you can say, this much I will earn this week, or I'll earn this much in a month, something like that. Step two, imagine some of the results of having that money: a new home, sending your daughter or son to a good school or college, or comfortable retirement. So what it does is it can gives that money purpose. Okay. So don't earn money for money's sake, but earn money by giving it a purpose. Where is this money that is coming? It's going to be used, and for what? Step three, decide how you will earn this extra money. I've emphasized again and again that you can't get something for nothing. You must have a plan. The more motives you can associate while making more money, the stronger your push to achieve it. Yeah. So it's very important for you to know that you have to give purpose to your money. Step four, write out your goal and plan and include your motives for making more money. Instead of a statement like, I want to retire in security, you can say, I want to own my own home free and clear of debt. I'm able to travel, visit my family 3 times a year, and use that money for something good. Maybe build a foundation or, support the charity that you like, whatever. Step five, go back to your plan, underline all the things that you need to do to make it happen that you aren't doing now, and make a separate list of things. And then we have step six, start doing the things on the list. Some of them will be daily tasks. Then they'll also be spending less money dining out. Yeah, because you now learn to budget your money. And you have to bend all your efforts and thoughts to doing those things. Step seven is every day read your goal aloud to yourself until you have memorized it. So, definite major purpose, very important to work on it. Now, there are some habits that we are all attached to. Okay, and they are like this big little ball which is tied to our ankle. Poverty, imaginary illness, yeah, a lot of hypochondriacs, laziness, envy, greed, vanity, cynicism, drifting without an aim or purpose. I'm just living for the sake of living. Irritability, revenge, jealousy, dishonesty, arrogance, sadism. Okay, willpower, again, a very important part of the cosmic habit force, because if you want to develop habits, willpower is very important. So step one, actively ally yourself with other people. Create that mastermind alliance. Now, when I want to work with, losing weight or with working with health and fitness goals, I would rather have a buddy with me, and now I've made my husband my buddy. So let's see how that goes. Step two, develop your plan, drawing on all the members of your alliance for their knowledge, ability, and power of their faith. Step three, distance yourself from anyone and any circumstance that makes you feel inferior. We have many of these kind of people who will say, "Arey, no, yeah." You become, now you're almost crossing 50 and all. It's not going to work. Your hormones and all don't, it doesn't work properly, and you may not lose weight, and this bimari, that bimari, and all of that. Please keep them away. A positive ego does not grow in a negative environment. Remember that cosmic habit force causes every living thing to partake of the dominating influence of its environment. Step 4 is close the door on these unpleasant experiences of the past. Okay, so change that adversity. See how you can build something new from that. A strong will doesn't dwell on the past, and a vital ego thrives on hopes and desires of a as yet unattained objective. Step 5, surround yourself with every possible means of impressing your mind with the nature of your definite purpose. Hang these mottos on your wall, put up pictures of people doing what you want to do. Create that vision board for yourself, create a vision book for yourself. I'm working on a vision book now. The more you create this image, the sooner it'll be taken over by the cosmic habit force. Step 6, watch out that you don't overinflate your ego. Now, it's a very thin line. As soon as you start acquiring and getting stuff your way, you can also tend to get egoistic. And that is again another road to your downfall. So be aware. One small prick with a pin and the escaping hot air will be like a runaway rocket, carrying you far away from where you want to be. Oh my God. Imagine. I'm just so visual. So I actually saw that in my head. Okay. So what are the 3 essentials of a cosmic habit force? Ralph Waldo Emerson labeled the chief wants of young life to find someone who will make us do what we can. So first we need to know what we can do. What is my skill? What am I skilled at? What is my ability, my physical, mental state that's allowing me to do? I can do this much. Like I told myself, I can do 1 webinar a week for now. And maybe I can do 2 at a later date. But right now, I can do 1. So know your own capacity, capability. So what are these 3 essentials? First is plasticity. Plasticity is the capacity or the capability to change. It implies that once a change has been made, your new form will hold until a subsequent change is made. You won't revert to your old status. But for this, you will really need to work and bring that new person into being. That is why, 21 days, 30 days, 60 days of a habit are very, very important for forming that habit within you. The frequency of impression. Now, repetition is the mother of habit. Okay, so how often are you doing it? One of the factors affecting the speed with which a habit can be adopted is how often it is consciously repeated. So many people do 100 days of creating an artwork, 100 days of exercise, or something like that. Then comes the intensity of impression. You can go through the motions of an activity or you can concentrate on doing it. Concentration builds the habit quickly. Okay? You impress the habit on your subconscious mind and it becomes part of everything that you do. So if I'm going to put health and fitness as a goal and as a regime and as a habit forming, every other area of my life, I'm going to be very aware of it. That habit, how it plays into different places. So if I'm, engaging in an exercise program, I'm not going to eat junk because I'm really working hard to lose that extra weight, or I'm working hard to build stamina and I'm not going to put in junk. I'm going to eat healthy. So it all works together in tandem, like that cosmic universe that is working together. Any worthless, superfluous, or harmful habit can be broken and replaced with a more desirable one if you want it to be so. The nucleus of the entire science of personal achievement lies in this concept. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Yes, that's the last slide, friends. And this brings to end our Think and Grow Rich webinar based on Napoleon Hill's principles. Thank you very much. Do join the group, the WhatsApp group, and we can talk, we can share, and have conversations around this and see how it affects us as women and how our lives can change when we adopt and implement each of these principles, but from a very feminine point of view. You don't have to be rigid about certain things. Yeah. So thank you for staying with me for these 3-part webinars on Think and Grow Rich. We'll come up with the next webinar. Hopefully it'll be on the psychology of money, because this has been a weak area for me, and I'm sure it's a weak area for many other women, other than those who are already CAs and working maybe in the financial field. But for some of us, it is tough. So let's see. Yeah? Okay. I'll see you around. Have a good weekend, dear ones. Love you all. Bye-bye.